In a faraway land of rolling green hills, winding rivers, and castles that seemed to scrape the clouds, there lived a king unlike any other. He ruled wisely, spoke gently, and cared deeply for his people. But there was one thing that made him the subject of whispers and curiosity. He was very, very small. Not small in power or courage, no. Small in stature, barely taller than a child. He wore a crown that seemed almost too large for his head and robes that had to be carefully tailored so they would not drag. Despite his size, the tiny king ruled a vast kingdom. But as time passed, he began to feel that the world did not see his strength. King Alden sat upon his throne, his feet dangling just slightly above the ground. The court was filled with advisors, speaking all at once. He noticed that when disputes arose, nobles often looked not to him, but to his generals. Foreign envoys' eyes carried doubt. One evening, Alden walked alone through the castle gardens. The moonlight bathed the flowers in silver. "I must appear stronger," he murmured. The next morning, he made an unusual decree. He would hire a giant. Word spread quickly across mountains and valleys. Weeks later, the ground trembled. A shadow fell across the walls. The giant was enormous, taller than the tallest tower. His name was Bron. The guards panicked. The townspeople fled. But King Alden stood firm at the gates. "I am King Alden," he called out. "Have you come to serve as protector of this kingdom?" The giant knelt slowly, so that his massive face came level with the king. "I have," Bron said. "But why does a king need a giant?" Alden lifted his chin to ensure that no one ever doubts the strength of this crown again. The giant nodded. "I will stand beside you." At first, everything changed. When Alden walked through the streets, Bron walked behind him, each step shaking the ground. No one questioned the king's authority now. Foreign envoys spoke with utmost respect. Bandits who once lurked at the edges vanished overnight. But as months passed, something changed. In the royal court, where once lively debates had filled the halls, there was now silence. Alden suggested raising taxes to build a grand new monument. It was not a good idea, but no one said a word. Walking through the marketplace, Alden heard whispers, not of doubt, but of fear. "The king won't listen anyway," someone muttered. That evening, Alden summoned Bron. "Tell me honestly, do you think I am a good king?" The giant tilted his head. "You are kind and thoughtful," Bron said gently. "But you are no longer listening to your people." The words stung. Not long after, a great storm struck. Winds howled, rivers flooded, and crops were destroyed. The people needed help quickly. Alden called an emergency council. "What should we do?" he asked. Silence. They were afraid of the giant. That night, Alden made a choice. The next morning, he stood before the court. "Bron, you have served me well, but I no longer need a protector who stands over my people. I need a kingdom that is not afraid to speak." Bron rose, bowed deeply, and left the kingdom. Without the giant, the kingdom felt smaller again. But something else returned. Voices, advisors began to speak freely. They disagreed, debated, and in doing so, made better decisions. The kingdom grew stronger through trust. Years later, travelers would ask, "Who protects this kingdom?" And the people would smile. "Our king does, because he listened." Power is not the same as strength. True leadership invites voices, welcomes challenge, and grows through listening. The smallest king discovered what he truly needed: courage, not to stand above others, but to stand among them.